Irys is working on something called Programmable Datachain. Can you explain what that means and why is it important?
Yeah, so a data chain is simply a chain that is optimized to store data. So traditional blockchains can only store very small amounts of data and it's very expensive. And the goal of a data chain is how can you store orders of magnitude, think thousands or millions of times more data for actually 1,000 or 1,000,000 times cheaper as well. And then when we talk about programmable, we're talking about how Irys is essentially an integrated L1 where you can not just store data, but you can actually make use of that data within smart contract. You can actually turn data from this very static commodity to this very useful asset.
How does Irys help developers working on AI and blockchain projects? What kind of problems does it solve for them?
Yeah, so when it comes to the actual data, storing data on Irys is much cheaper than using both typical blockchains like Ethereum and Solana, but also cheaper than traditional storage providers like even like AWS. So there are kind of some users that just want to have kind of massive cost savings. And then also one of the benefits of storing data on chain is that data is inherently immutable, it's verifiable, and there are also specific use cases where AI projects need to have the data be available to many parties, and the only way to do that is to essentially build the data on chain.
You recently launched a testnet. What's the goal of this phase and how can developers get involved?
Yeah, so the alpha testnet is actually for developers. So if you want to get involved, if you're a developer and you want to get involved, then the best thing to do is go to the docs or actually just go into the Discord where I'm there every day. And feel free to just kind of start building something, or if you actually need any ideas, then we actually have 100 different ideas for applications that can be built on the chain. And then in the next kind of month or so, we'll be going to public testnet where we can have people kind of running their own nodes, etc.
What are the biggest milestones Irys is working toward over the next year?
Yeah, so we have public testnet coming in a month, which is around how can we actually have a decentralized set of participants actually running the network. And then we'll be going to mainnet in the first half of this year. So we'll be both launching the L1, launching the token, and also we'll have a bunch of people within our ecosystem going to mainnet as well.
Okay, how do you see Irys contributing to the future of blockchain and AI? What's the big vision you're building toward?
Yeah, so the big vision for Irys is I think about it like the AWS for Web3, where we will have the ability to store large amounts of data, kind of analogous to something like S3, but also have this permissionless set of services and utilities that exist on the chain that any developer, any user can tap into. So you won't just be able to store your models and your data sets on Irys, you'll be able to actually sell those data sets and monetize those directly on chain and sell them to different AI companies and different researchers and just different people that kind of want to consume those data sets. That's one example. Or perhaps you'll want to kind of compute on that data. And the idea is that Irys will be the home for all of these kind of different composable set of utilities and services.